Quantum shifting feels easy. That's why most ignore it. You walk past it every single day. The doorway into another life. Not with golden light spilling through its frame, not with thunder or angels announcing its presence, but in silence. In the way you breathe, in the thoughts you allow, in the emotions you replay like old songs in the background, and yet, you never notice because the door is invisible. Here's the paradox. Reality doesn't change with explosions, it shifts with whispers. What collapses one timeline and births another is not force, not struggle, but awareness. And the truth is, you've been brushing against the edges of new realities your entire life without realizing it. Think of the double slit experiment. Light behaves as both a wave of infinite possibilities and a particle of specific outcome. The moment an observer pays attention, the wave collapses, and reality chooses. What science discovered in the lab is what you've been living in secret. Every moment is a field of potential until your awareness touches it. That means every time you notice something new, every time you choose to see the world differently, you collapse one possibility and open another. But here's where it gets subtle. It isn't the big decisions that change your life. It's the microscopic ones. The way you choose to respond when someone cuts you off in traffic. The way you breathe before sending that message you're afraid to send. The way you decide to feel grateful instead of bitter when things don't go your way. These are the invisible hinges of destiny. Two people walk into the same room. One feels ignored, invisible, unwanted. The other feels curious, alive, full of opportunity. The room hasn't changed, but the doors each person walked through are not the same. One reality is painted by insecurity. The other is painted by possibility. Which door do you keep walking past? You've been conditioned to believe that transformation requires struggle, that you must break yourself apart, burn your bridges, leap off cliffs. But the deeper science and philosophy whisper another truth. The shift happens quietly. It happens the moment you realize you don't have to replay the old emotional program one more time. That the sadness you've been looping in isn't your identity, it's just an echo. That the anger you've been carrying isn't who you are, it's just a frequency you forgot you had the power to tune. Awareness is the key, not force, not willpower, awareness. Because awareness itself is a vibration. The moment you see the invisible door, you've already shifted. So pause, take a breath, look around, ask yourself, what ordinary moment right now could be an extraordinary gateway? What thought could you release instead of repeat? What new frequency could you allow into your body instead of the old one you keep rehearsing? You will discover that the invisible doors are everywhere. In the conversation you almost avoided. In the forgiveness you almost denied. In the joy you almost postponed. And when you finally notice, you realize reality never needed to shout at you. It was always whispering, always waiting for you to step through the door you've been walking past your entire life. This is where the shift begins. Not outside you, but in the awareness that you are already the observer, collapsing the infinite into the life you choose. You have been taught to trust the hard road. Somehow, if it hurts, if it drains you, if it costs you your peace, then it must be real. But here's the paradox. Transformation, when it's true, doesn't always feel heavy. It feels light. It feels effortless. And because of that, you don't believe it. The mind has been trained to worship struggle. From childhood, you were told that success requires sacrifice, that healing requires pain, that change demands suffering. You learn to measure your worth in sweat, in battle scars, in exhaustion. And so when life begins to shift softly, when the door opens without a fight, you dismiss it as luck, as coincidence, as temporary. But here's the truth. Ease is not an illusion. It is the natural language of quantum change. Think of the double slit experiment. Light particles don't push, they don't force, they don't grind their way through. They move like possibility, fluid, unstrained, until the observer's awareness guides them into form. No struggle, no resistance, just intention meeting matter. Now compare this to the human heart. When you finally let go of an old story, healing doesn't arrive with thunder. It arrives like exhaling after holding your breath too long. Soft, gentle, almost unbelievable. But because you've been conditioned to equate real with difficult, You overlook the quantum truth. The deepest shifts feel like relief, not war. Imagine two people standing at the edge of change. The first has been conditioned to believe that healing must hurt. They grind, they force, they analyze every step, waiting for the breakthrough that never arrives. The second allows ease. They surrender the need to control. They soften into the possibility that it could actually be simple, and their body, their mind, their reality reorganizes without friction. Same doorway, different belief systems, two entirely different timelines. Here's the hidden bias of your subconscious. It deletes what doesn't match your programming. If you believe transformation must be hard, your subconscious literally filters out experiences of ease. It ignores the evidence right in front of you. That is why ease feels suspicious. That is why you dismiss synchronicities as too good to be true. That is why opportunities that arrive without struggle are met with hesitation instead of trust. But what if the bias is wrong? What if difficulty isn't proof but resistance? What if softness is not weakness but alignment? Quantum physicist Amit Goswami once said, "Consciousness is the ground of all being." That means reality bends not to the amount of effort you exert, but to the frequency you embody. When you align, you don't push. When you embody ease, reality reflects ease. This doesn't mean life will never present challenges. It means the texture of transformation changes, from uphill battles to flowing rivers, from forcing doors open to watching them swing on their own. So here's the invitation. Let ease be believable. Let joy be proof. Let softness be the sign that the shift is real. Because when change arrives lightly, it's not less powerful, it's more. It's reality showing you that the frequency you hold is stronger than the fight you've been rehearsing. The truth is, struggle was never the evidence. Ease was. And when you accept that, you collapse the old belief system. You step into a new timeline where effort is no longer the currency. Presence is change does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it is so quiet that if you weren't paying attention, you'd miss the exact moment your entire life began to rearrange. And here's the paradox. What feels invisible is, in truth, the most powerful. In the laboratories of quantum physics, scientists stumbled upon something that mirrors your inner world. The famous double slit experiment. Light, when unobserved, behaves like a wave, pure potential, infinite pathways. But when observed, that wave collapses into a particle, a definite outcome. Awareness changes matter. Observation creates reality, not through noise, not through explosions, but through silent presence. This is the science of silent shifts. Your life is no different. You are the observer. And the moment you shift your awareness, you shift the trajectory of your reality. But it happens in ways so subtle, so gentle, that your rational mind often overlooks them. Think about the last time you decided to forgive someone. There was no lightning strike, no applause. But the weight in your chest lifted, your nervous system softened, and slowly, the world around you began to reflect the peace you allowed within. This is quantum. This is frequency. This is reality bending in whispers, not storms. Two people can experience the same event. One interprets it as failure and spirals into despair. The other interprets it as redirection and finds strength in the new path. The event itself is neutral. What collapses into form is the meaning assigned, the observation made. In other words, your perception is the architect. Entanglement deepens the mystery. Two particles, once connected, remain correlated no matter the distance between them. What happens to one is reflected in the other. Does this not mirror your relationships, your connections, your inner dialogue? The emotions you radiate, resentment or love, fear or gratitude, are entangled with the field around you. Change your inner state, and you silently change the way the universe responds. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you rehearse a new emotional state, gratitude, joy, peace, you're broadcasting a new signal into the field. The field must respond. The mirror must shift, not loudly, but faithfully. The human mind, conditioned by drama and fireworks, misses these moments. You expect the world to announce your transformation with neon signs, but the universe speaks in subtler tones. A synchronicity here, a conversation there, a chance encounter that redirects your life. These are not coincidences. They are collapses of possibility. The field rearranging itself because your awareness touched it. So here is the truth. Your greatest shifts may not be felt in the moment. They will sneak in like dawn, unnoticed until you look back and realize the night has ended. The science shows it. The field confirms it. And your own heart knows it. Reality bends not through force but through attention. Not through storms, but through whispers. The invitation is simple. Trust the silence. Trust the subtle. Trust the shifts you cannot yet measure, but are already unfolding. Because when you learn to honor the whispers, you realize they were never whispers at all. They were the entire universe, rearranging itself for you. The greatest walls you face are not outside you. They are inside you, silent, hidden, built not of stone, but of belief. And the paradox is this: the one guarding your future is not your enemy. It is your subconscious, your loyal gatekeeper. Your subconscious mind processes millions of bits of information every second. It decides what you see, what you ignore, what you accept as truth. And yet, you rarely notice its hand guiding your every step. It is like a filter on the lens of a camera. The world is infinite in color, but the lens only allows certain shades to pass through. You think you are seeing reality, but you are only seeing the fragments your subconscious permits. That means the doors into new timelines are everywhere, but your gatekeeper lets you walk past them. Think of it this way: you declare you want abundance, but your subconscious, programmed by years of scarcity, filters out every opportunity that doesn't match the old story. You literally cannot see what contradicts your programming. Two people walk into the same networking event. One, whose subconscious is wired with confidence, notices possibility in every handshake. The other, wired with rejection, notices only indifference and cold shoulders. Same room, same reality. Different gatekeepers. Neuroscience tells us that up to 95% of your daily actions are driven by the subconscious. That means most of your choices aren't choices at all. They are rehearsed loops, echoes of old experiences replayed beneath awareness. This is why change feels hard. Not because you are broken, but because your gatekeeper has been taught to protect the familiar. Even if the familiar is painful, your subconscious doesn't care about your happiness. It cares about your survival. And survival means sameness, patterns, loops. But here's the key: the gatekeeper can be retrained. When you introduce new emotions, gratitude, love, curiosity, you speak to the subconscious in its own language, frequency. The subconscious doesn't respond to logic, it responds to felt experience, to repetition, to embodied truth. This is why Joe Dispenza teaches rehearsing your future self every day. When you feel the emotions of the reality you want before it arrives, you are programming the gatekeeper to accept a new standard of truth. The moment your subconscious accepts it, the invisible doors appear. The opportunities you once overlooked begin to glow. What you once ignored now feels undeniable. So here is the invitation: stop fighting the gatekeeper. Befriend it, train it, teach it to recognize ease as safety, abundance as normal, joy as familiar. Because the truth is, the subconscious was never designed to block you. It was designed to serve you. It just needs new instructions. And once you give them, you discover that the walls you thought were imprisoning you were never walls at all. They were filters. Filters you can now choose to change. And when you do, the gatekeeper that once closed the door becomes the very one who opens it. You've been told emotions make you weak. That logic is strength, and feeling is fragility. But here's the paradox: your emotions are not weakness. They are antennas. They are tuning forks. They are the language your body speaks to the quantum field. Feeling is frequency, and frequency is what shapes form. Every thought you think creates an electrical signal in the brain. Every emotion you feel creates a magnetic field in the heart. Together they generate the electromagnetic signature you broadcast into the universe. Joe Dispenza calls it broadcasting a new signal. Bob Proctor called it vibration. Science calls it the electromagnetic field, but they all mean the same thing. Reality mirrors back to you the frequency you hold within. This is why you cannot fake alignment. You can say affirmations with your mouth, but if your body is pulsing with fear, you are tuning into the frequency of fear. and the quantum field will echo it back in form, not as punishment, but as resonance. Think of two people walking into the same interview. One is terrified, rehearsing stories of failure, radiating doubt. The other feels alive, grateful, already embodying the energy of being chosen. The room is the same, the interviewer the same, the questions the same, yet the outcomes unfold on entirely different timelines. Not because of luck. Because of frequency, emotions are not random. They are signals. They tell you which station you are tuned to in the infinite radio of reality. Fear tunes you to scarcity. Gratitude tunes you to abundance. Resentment tunes you to cycles of betrayal. Joy tunes you to synchronicities and flow. This is why ignoring your feelings is not strength, it is blindness. When you dismiss your emotions, you dismiss the very compass guiding you through the field of possibility. Your subconscious doesn't listen to words. It listens to the emotions you rehearse. If you wake up every day rehearsing stress, your body memorizes it and your frequency becomes stress. And the field responds faithfully with more of it. But here's the liberating truth. The same mechanism that holds you in loops can free you. The moment you rehearse gratitude, not because of what you have, but simply because you choose to feel it, you begin to shift stations. Your nervous system relaxes, your heart expands, and your electromagnetic field broadcasts a new signal. You are no longer tuned to the frequency of lack. You are tuned to the frequency of abundance, and form begins to rearrange, quietly, faithfully, inevitably. So here's the invitation. Stop fighting your emotions. Stop labeling them as good or bad. See them as frequencies, instruments, signals you can tune with awareness. Because once you realize that feeling is frequency and frequency becomes form, you stop trying to manipulate matter with force. You start tuning yourself instead, and when you do, reality has no choice. It bends to match the song you sing. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are, and this is the paradox. The universe does not respond to your desires, it responds to your identity. Think of it like a tuning fork. A fork vibrating at one frequency cannot summon another. It can only attract what resonates. In the same way, reality does not bend to your wishes. It bends to the frequency of who you believe yourself to be. Identity is the quiet power behind every shift, the hidden lever of transformation. Joe Dispenza calls it becoming the new self. Bob Proctor said, change the paradigm and you change everything. Neuroscience confirms it. Your brain literally reorganizes itself around the identity you rehearse most often. You are not trapped by circumstances. You are entranced by the character you've been playing. Imagine two people deciding to run a marathon. The first says, I'm trying to become a runner. Their subconscious hears identity in conflict, effort, struggle, an old self trying to survive. The second says, I am a runner. Their subconscious hears identity aligned. Every action follows naturally. Training, discipline, even joy flow without resistance because the identity requires no convincing. Same goal, different self-image, different reality. The quantum field mirrors this. Remember the observer effect. Particles collapse based on expectation. When you expect to see an electron in a certain place, you find it there. Your identity works the same way. If you expect to be rejected, life bends to meet that story. If you expect to be loved, the same world rearranges to echo back the love you already carry. Not because reality is cruel, not because life is random, but because reality is a mirror, and the mirror does not reflect what you want, it reflects who you are. Being neuroscience shows us that the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experience and physical reality. When you rehearse gratitude, courage, or abundance as if it's already true, your body believes it. Your gatekeeper reprograms, and slowly, the world around you matches the new self you've chosen. This is not pretending. It is embodying. It is collapsing the wave of infinite possibilities into the particle of a lived reality. So here's the shift. Stop trying to change your life from the outside in. Stop trying to rearrange matter with matter. Begin from the inside out, through identity. Ask yourself, who am I being when I feel small? Who am I being when I feel infinite? And which self do I choose to rehearse again and again until the field has no choice but to reflect it? The quiet power of identity is this. The moment you decide who you are, the universe organizes around it, not loudly. Not with fireworks, but with the silent, faithful rearranging of form to meet frequency. You are not here to force change. You are here to embody it, and when you do, reality bends. Not because you pushed it, but because you became it. The harder you push, the further it drifts away. The moment you cling, the dream slips from your grasp. And here is the paradox. The most powerful creation requires no strain. It is intention without tension, focus without force, action without resistance. This is the paradox of effortless effort. Look at nature. The river carves mountains not by force but by flow. The flower does not strain to bloom. It simply responds to the season. The sun does not wrestle itself into rising. It appears faithful, effortless. And yet, you were conditioned to believe that effort equals worth. That struggle proves value, that if it comes easy, it must not be real. But quantum science whispers otherwise. In the double-slit experiment, electrons do not strain to choose their path. They simply respond to observation. They collapse possibility into form without tension, without effort, guided by awareness alone. Reality mirrors this law. Consciousness shapes matter, not through grinding willpower, but through aligned intention. This is why Joe Dispenza teaches that creation emerges from coherence, a heart and mind synchronized, broadcasting one signal. When you embody coherence, the quantum field reorganizes without friction. Imagine two people preparing for the same opportunity. The first clutches tightly, rehearsing fear, trying to control every detail. Their body is tense, their mind scattered. The energy they project is resistance. The second sets a clear intention, then releases it into trust. Their body is relaxed, their heart open, their focus steady. They still take action, but the action flows. The energy they project is ease, same opportunity, different frequency, different outcome. Here's the truth. When you force, you operate from lack. You signal to the universe, I do not have it and I must fight for it. And the field mirrors back struggle. But when you act from ease, you signal, it is already mine. I am aligned with it. And the field mirrors back synchronicity, flow, and grace. This is not passivity. It is not waiting idly. It is taking aligned action without desperation, moving with the current instead of against it. So here is the invitation. Release the belief that effort equals proof. Release the tension that strangles possibility. Set the intention. Feel the frequency. Take the step, but do it lightly. Do it as if the outcome is inevitable, because in the field it already is. This is the paradox. When you no longer need to force, creation arrives faster. When you no longer strain, life flows. When you surrender the weight of control, you discover the effortless power you've had all along. You were never meant to wrestle reality into form. You were meant to align. And let form meet you. You keep waiting for fireworks, for the sky to split open, for angels to sing, for life to announce in neon letters, you have changed. But here is the paradox. The signs you've shifted are almost never dramatic. They arrive quietly, like whispers, like breadcrumbs, and because they feel ordinary, you dismiss them. Think of déjà vu, that strange flicker of familiarity in an unfamiliar place. Your logical mind writes it off as a glitch, a trick of memory. But what if it is something else? A subtle echo of another timeline brushing against the one you've stepped into. A sign that your reality has already reorganized. Think of synchronicities. The friend you were just thinking of suddenly calls. The number 1111 keeps appearing. The right book falls into your lap at the right moment. You smile, you shrug, you move on, forgetting that these small alignments are the universe whispering, you are on the path. Two people experience the same signs. The first dismisses them. It's just coincidence, just random chance. They miss the invitation. They walk past the door. The second pauses, breathes, pays attention. They see the synchronicity as evidence, as guidance, as feedback from the field. They follow the breadcrumb, and the breadcrumb leads to another and another. And soon they find themselves in a reality they didn't know was possible. Same signs, different awareness, entirely different lives. Here's the truth. Your reality shifts the moment your awareness does. But because the subconscious is addicted to the familiar, it expects transformation to come with drama. If it doesn't feel explosive, it must not be real, but quantum science shows us otherwise. In the double slit experiment, the collapse of the wave into a particle happens invisibly. No sound, no spectacle, just a silent shift from possibility into form. Your life works the same way. The proof is not in explosions. The proof is in the subtle. The lighter mood you can't explain. The conversation that feels different. The sudden release of an old trigger that once owned you. These are not small. They are monumental. They are the field reorganizing to match the new frequency you've chosen. So here's the invitation. Begin noticing. Keep a journal of synchronicities. Pay attention to your inner shifts, no matter how soft they feel. Celebrate the whispers instead of waiting for the thunder. Because the signs are not random. They are feedback. They are proof that reality is already bending, and once you honor them, something profound happens. The breadcrumbs turn into pathways, the whispers turn into guidance, and the invisible transformation you once doubted becomes undeniable. You don't have to wait for fireworks to know you've shifted. You just have to notice the silence. You were never meant to fight reality. You were meant to flow with it. Every tree, every river, every star follows a rhythm. Nature never strains to be what it already is. The sun doesn't force itself to rise. The ocean doesn't struggle to form waves. And yet you've been taught that effort equals worth, that struggle is proof of progress. But here's the paradox. The deepest transformations don't happen through force. They happen through alignment, through ease. Think of water. When you thrash against it, you sink. When you soften into it, you float. Life works the same way. The more you fight, the heavier it feels. The more you trust, the more it carries you. Quantum physics whispers the same truth. The double slit experiment shows us that particles collapse into form, not when they are forced, but when they are observed. Presence, not pressure, creates reality. Your awareness shapes the field, not your exhaustion. So what if ease was not laziness, but intelligence? What if the universe responds to your frequency, not your frantic effort? Imagine two people chasing the same dream. The first clings tightly, anxious, overworking, desperate to prove they are enough. Their energy broadcasts scarcity, and so life reflects scarcity back to them. Doors stay closed. Opportunities slip away. The second holds the vision lightly. They act, but they don't strain. They trust that the right timing will meet them halfway. Their frequency broadcasts abundance, and so life mirrors abundance back. Same dream, different state, different reality. Ease is not the absence of action. It is the quality of action. It is intention without tension, movement without resistance. It is surrender and creation woven together like breath, inhale and exhale, effort and release. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you live elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, love, you open the door to the quantum field. Why? Because those states tune you to the frequency of possibility. They put you in coherence, where your heart and brain synchronize, where creation flows through you rather than from you. This is why ease feels so powerful. It is not passivity, it is coherence. Here's the truth. Life is not a battlefield. It is a dance floor. The universe is not testing you. It is moving with you. Every synchronicity, every whisper, every silent shift is the rhythm you're meant to hear. And when you finally stop forcing, you begin noticing. When you stop gripping, you begin receiving. When you stop demanding, you begin aligning. This is the flow of quantum ease. So here's the invitation. Live as if life is conspiring for you, not against you. Let the small signs guide you. Act with intention, then release the outcome. Trust the field to do its part, because the truth is, you don't create reality by force. You create it by frequency, and the highest frequency is ease. Choose it, embody it, flow with it, and you will discover that quantum shifting is not something you do, it is who you are.